So you followed our advice. You came up with a plan. You stuck to it like glue. But it didn't work. You're still hitting the wall. You're not getting past your threshold. You're not making more than you were supposed to. You're not, whatever it is that you set out as your goal, there's something stopping you from moving forward. You're stuck. So there's a fascinating psychology of this. It's called the self-limiting belief or the inner saboteur, or there's a whole therapy world about that. But there is a concept. Maybe you could explain it better than I can.
The question is, what are you telling yourself that's preventing you from doing what you want to do, what you know you could do?
Well, to explain it, really, there's a wall. There's a wall that you keep running into, right? We just had that ourselves. We were just talking about our walls of hitting a certain thing. And what it really comes down to is we're comfortable where we're at, right? We're really comfortable at the way things are. And we made peace with the way things are, for the good or the bad. I'm being abused. Okay, I've learned how to handle it. I'm successful. I've learned how to handle the level I'm at. When you break into new territories, and we all want to break into a new territory, new emotions come up and new questions come up, like relationships with money. People have a relationship with money. You might not know that, but people actually have a relationship with money. Some people feel like they don't, but they do. Think about for yourself as a child, what were you told? Or what concept did you ingrain in your head as a pattern of money? Rich people are greedy. Rich people are stingy, ruthless, stingy, smart, whatever that is for you, right? You have something that, when you're not rich, makes you feel good about yourself because, oh, they're the evil people, I'm the good one, right? But when you want to be rich, there's like that whole psychology part that you have to make peace with, right? Because if I become that, then that means those things that I said about those people my whole life is me. So how do you make peace with that, right? So it was a long time, I heard this idea of visualizations and affirmations. I really didn't believe in any of it. And I thought it was useless, and I thought that maybe for other people, but for me it would never work because it's just a strange concept. Talking to yourself, what would that do? Until I heard a fascinating way of explaining it. And what it really is you're comfortable with where you're at. If you could envision where you want to go, and you listen to those voices in your head and those emotions that come up, you'll hear those ideas. Well, if I'm imagining myself now in that level of success, I now hear I'm stingy, I'm greedy, I'm bad. You hear those emotions come up, or you at least you physically feel uncomfortable. And you have to go into yourself and say, why do I feel uncomfortable? And what visualization does for you, if used properly, is it allows you to try it on. Try on the success and feel the resistance. What is stopping you from feeling it? You'll feel emotion, you'll feel ideas, and then slowly make peace with those ideas by acknowledging that they exist, understand where they come from, and this is where the affirmation parts come in. If you really want to reprogram your brain, put in the other side to balance it. This is, you go back to saying the balance idea.
I didn't go the affirmations route. For me personally, I'll give you like a personal example. I used to call myself, I'm just a little schnook. I used to say that all the time. Like I would walk into somebody's office.
But recognize that is an affirmation. It's a pattern that you're creating based off.
It's a pattern I created.
But that's an affirmation.
My limited level of success that I already achieved. And I was saying, well, what am I doing? I'm sitting with a CEO who's double my age, makes 10 times the amount of money as I'm making, and we're having these one-on-one conversations for a half hour every week. That's ridiculous. Right. Why did I deserve that? So I just said, I'm just a little schnook who finagled my way into the office. I made it happen. No, it's not true. There's something about my experiences and my natural talents that God gave me, and the choices that I made with God's support to be able to get me over here, to have something of value to offer other people that they're willing to pay for. And people at the highest levels of success in our community see value in and are willing to pay for.
It plays into a little bit of fear, but
Nothing to do with.
We're going to go into that different time.
But there's no more schnook.
Yeah.
And after I think it was Tony Robbins.
But that's an affirmation.
Correct.
You're not saying it to yourself every morning. You're doing it intuitively. But if a person wanted to be a little bit more deliberate, the way to do it is make a list of the things that you need to tell yourself that you need to hear, because they're not true. It's not true that money equals evil. It depends what you do with your money. There's a whole world of Hishtadlus. There's a whole world that you have to do what's right with your money. But the association that we have, the mental pattern that we created, isn't true. And you break that by telling yourself over and over and over again. So I went to my Rosh Yeshiva once and I said to him, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. So he said to me, if you saw a Sefer Torah on the floor, would you pick it up? I said, of course I would pick it up. He says, well, then you believe. So then we got a little bit deeper, and what he said to me was, you want to feel in your life his touch. I said, yeah, that's really what I'm saying. So he says, do this. Start with 2 times, and then move up to 5, and then 10, and then 100. Pick things that happen in the world that you could attribute to God, and just say, thank you, that tree is gorgeous. Thank you, Hashem. The schnapps is delicious, dead drop. Good schnapps. Thank you, Hashem, for making that for me to be able to appreciate. And then you'll be able to feel his touch in your life. And I got older, I realized, wait, the whole Mea Bracha thing, that is
it's an affirmation.
That is an affirmation. We're doing it wrong. So when you make brachas, don't, no, it's an affirmation. You're saying, thank you, God, for being in my life to give me this, so I can now feel you in my life. We're just not taking advantage of it. Right? And that blew my mind.
That's funny. I never thought of it as an affirmation.
And I keep seeing these patterns as I become more and more self-aware. The world has them all around. We're just not in tune to it. We don't have like that tuning for it to be able to see it and even recognize in people's language is how they view things. But it's so powerful. So to go back on point, take your plan. Put on the visualization. Try on the success. Feel what comes up for you, and then start dealing with those things, and then you'll find the wall disappears. Because the success was always there. You sabotage yourself time and time again. Example from my own life, I was talking to a client, he has 5 websites, he wanted to do SEO, talking about big contracts, really $6,000 a month type of stuff. And he said, okay, give me a quote. And I negotiated myself, not him, I negotiated on his behalf to now be $3,000 a site instead of $6,000 a site, because I thought that would get me the deal. And in the end, he didn't take the deal, but I met him 3 years later. And I said, what happened? I gave you such a good price. We're doing such a good product. He says, you know what? Your competitor came in at 5. You came in at 3. I said, he must be better if he's at 5 than you, who's at 3. And I went with him. I said, was he better? He says, no, I should have used you. And I realized at that moment, I sabotaged myself. If I would have had the mindset to appreciate my value and be able to handle the success that comes with a $25,000 contract from a huge company that could open up a door for someone else, I would have taken it. Another example, my sister once got me in touch with a very, very, very big Fortune 500 company with the CEO. She happened to have worked with the guy, and she said, here's a number, call the guy. To this day, I never called. I never called because I had a self-limiting belief that I had to conquer, that I wasn't ready to move from where I was to all the way over there. I had to go slowly. I had to slowly get easy with it. But if I was able to make peace with that, I would have been able to make the jump. And I think that's what people don't realize. People think that the environment is controlling them, and people are keeping them down. And I don't know why I keep running to the same, I keep getting abused in the same way, or I keep running into partners, I keep getting screwed. I keep getting, the same thing keeps happening. They don't realize that it's somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they put themselves into the situation to allow that to happen so that they could say something. They don't realize that they're in the power to change it if they own that dialogue. It's so powerful, and I want really the world to hear this because it took me so long to learn this, and it's so important that everyone should know this, especially those who are starting out. You got to become self-aware. You have to realize what makes you tick and your personality and the beliefs you have and those that limit you. It's really an incredible ability. And you could go further. There's a whole system actually of writing down your achievements or writing down there's a lot more you could do on it. But for the basic level, just start working on those self-limiting ideas that we all have. And they're not negative. And it doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that you're human.
בחן בחן